She'd been too young to have kids and too busy raising them to have dreams. Now Maya sat at the kitchen table with an application form spread in front of her. The university logo gleamed at the top. Her daughter Lily worked on calculus across from her. Her son Max hunched over a history textbook. 15 years had passed since Maya had dropped out of college in her first semester. The tuition was still expensive. The time was still impossible. And part of her wondered if this dream had an expiration date she'd already missed. The form asked, "Why do you want to teach?" Her pen hovered over blank space. Lily glanced up from her calculator. "Mom, are you actually going to do it this time?" Maya's hand froze. The question hung in the quiet kitchen. Outside, the Portland rain started its evening rhythm against the windows. She could leave the form blank, go back to the supermarket tomorrow, keep things safe. Or she could write the truth. The kitchen light was too bright for 9 p.m. Maya Torres sat at the table with the application form she'd printed 3 weeks ago. The paper had coffee stains on one corner. Her daughter Lily worked through calculus problems across from her. Max's history textbook lay open between them. Maya touched the pen to paper and lifted it again. The form asked why she wanted to teach. 15 years ago, she'd known the answer without thinking. Back then, teaching felt like breathing. Now the question looked like a test she might fail. Lily looked up. "You've been staring at that for 20 minutes. "I'm thinking." Maya turned the pen between her fingers. "You always think too much." Lily returned to her calculator. Max closed his textbook. "I'm done. Can I play games?" "Homework first." Maya's voice came automatically. "I said I'm done." She glanced at his notebook. The handwriting was rushed, but the answers looked right. "Okay, 1 hour." Max disappeared down the hall. His door clicked shut. The sound of game music filtered through. Lily finished a problem and checked her answer key. She made a small, satisfied sound. Maya looked at the blank space under the question. "Why do you want to teach?" The cursor in her mind blinked like a challenge. Outside, rain started against the window glass. The sound was soft and steady. Maya had been 19. The registrar's office had smelled like old paper and floor wax. She'd sat in a chair that was too small while the advisor pulled up her file. "You're withdrawing from all classes?" The woman's voice had been neutral, professional. Maya's hands had rested on her stomach. 3 months along, not showing yet, but she knew. "Yes." "Are you sure? You could take a semester off. Come back later." The words, "come back later," had sounded like a promise someone might not keep. Maya had nodded. "I'm sure." The advisor had typed something. The keyboard clicks had been loud in the quiet office. "You'll need to sign here and here." Maya had signed. Her signature had looked smaller than usual. "Good luck." The woman had handed her a copy of the withdrawal form. Maya had walked out into October sunlight. The campus had been full of students heading to class. She'd held the paper against her chest and walked the opposite direction. She hadn't come back later. The memory tasted like old regret and missed chances. Maya submitted the application at 2:17 a.m. She'd waited until both kids were asleep, until the house was completely quiet, until she couldn't talk herself out of it anymore. Her finger hovered over the submit button. She thought about Lily asking if she'd actually do it this time. She thought about the essay she'd written. 3 drafts before she'd found words that felt true. The answer to why she wanted to teach had finally come at midnight, because someone had to show her kids that dreams didn't expire. She clicked submit. The screen went white. Then a confirmation page loaded. "Application received. You will hear from us within 4 weeks. An email notification pinged. Same message. Application ID number. Instructions to check the portal. Maya closed the laptop. Her hands were shaking slightly. She pressed her palms flat against the table until they steadied. Through the window, the street was empty. A single light glowed in a neighbor's window. Someone else awake at this hour. She had 4 weeks to wait. 4 weeks to wonder if she'd made a massive mistake. 4 weeks to hope she hadn't. The university building smelled like old wood and fresh paint. Maya found the education department on the third floor. The door had a placard that read, Dr. Daniel Reed, Program Director. She knocked twice. Come in. The office was small but organized. Bookshelves lined one wall. A desk sat near the window with papers arranged in neat stacks. The man behind the desk looked up from his laptop. He was maybe late 30s, dark hair going gray at the temples, glasses, button-down shirt with sleeves rolled to his elbows. Miss Torres? He stood and offered his hand. Yes, Maya shook it. His grip was firm but brief. Daniel Reed, have a seat. He gestured to the chair across from his desk. Maya sat. She'd worn her best sweater, the one without stains or stretched cuffs. Her hands felt empty without her purse, but she'd left it outside. Daniel opened a folder, her application. I wanted to meet you in person. Your essay was compelling. Thank you. You have a gap in your education history. He didn't phrase it as a question, just stated fact. I had kids. Maya kept her voice level. I was 19. I dropped out first semester. Daniel made a note on the paper in front of him. His expression didn't change. No judgment, no pity. And you've been working since then? Retail mostly, supermarket for the last 8 years. Why teaching? Why now? The question again. Maya had practiced this answer, but sitting here, it felt harder to say. Because I want my kids to see that it's not too late, that you can still become who you wanted to be. Daniel set down his pen. He looked at her directly. That's honest. It's the truth. He was quiet for a moment. Outside the window, a group of students walked past. Their voices carried faintly through the glass. Our program is demanding, Daniel said. You'll have coursework, practicum hours, state exams, on top of your current responsibilities. I know. And you think you can handle that? Maya met his eyes. I don't know, but I want to try. Something shifted in Daniel's expression. Not quite a smile, but close. Good answer. He closed the folder and stood. You'll hear from us within the week. Thank you for coming in. Maya stood as well. They shook hands again. This time his grip felt less formal, more like acknowledgement. She left the office and walked back down the hallway. Her heart was beating fast, but steady. She didn't know if she'd passed whatever test that was, but she'd told the truth. That had to count for something. Maya drove home in afternoon traffic. The radio played something she didn't recognize. Her phone sat silent in the cup holder. Lily would be home from school by now. Max too. They'd want to know how it went. She didn't know what to tell them. The interview had lasted 20 minutes. 20 minutes to determine if 15 years away from school disqualified her. 20 minutes for Daniel Reed to decide if she was worth the risk. His face had been hard to read. Professional. Careful. But something in his last words had felt like possibility. Maya turned onto her street. The house looked the same as always. Small. The paint needed touching up. The lawn needed mowing. Home. She pulled into the driveway and sat for a moment before going inside. Through the front window, she could see Lily at the kitchen table. Probably homework again. Max was nowhere visible. Gaming in his room, most likely. Maya took a breath and got out of the car. Inside, Lily looked up immediately. How'd it go? I don't know yet. Maya set her keys on the counter. What do you mean you don't know? They'll let me know within a week. Lily's face showed disappointment. That's it? You wait again? That's it. Maya opened the fridge and stared at the contents without seeing them. Do you think you got in? Maya closed the fridge. I have no idea. She wanted to say something reassuring, something confident. But the truth was, she had no idea if Daniel Reed would recommend her, if the program would accept someone with her history. All she could do was wait. The kitchen felt too small suddenly. Maya needed air. I'm going to change. Can you start dinner? Lily nodded. Yeah, sure. Maya walked down the hall to her room and closed the door. She sat on the edge of her bed and looked at her hands. They looked the same as this morning, the same as 15 years ago, but something felt different, like she'd crossed a line she couldn't uncross. She hoped that was a good thing. The acceptance letter came 4 days later. Maya found it in the mailbox after her shift at the supermarket. The university logo showed through the envelope window. She didn't open it in front of the house, didn't want the kids to see if it was bad news. She got back in her car and drove 2 blocks to a quiet street. Parked under a tree, her fingers shook as she tore the envelope. "Dear Miss Torres, we are pleased to inform you." The words blurred. Maya read the sentence 3 times to make sure she understood. "Accepted into the teacher education program. Classes begin fall semester. Orientation scheduled for August 15th. She set the letter on the passenger seat and pressed both hands to her face. 15 years. 15 years since she'd walked out of that registrar's office. Since she'd chosen survival over dreams. Since she'd told herself, maybe later. Later had finally come. Maya cried, not loud, just quiet tears that came from somewhere deep. Relief and terror mixed together until she couldn't tell which was which. A car drove past. The sound faded into the afternoon quiet. She picked up the letter and read it again. The words hadn't changed, still accepted, still real. Maya started the car and drove home. The letter sat on the seat beside her, physical proof that sometimes later actually happened. She parked in the driveway. Through the window, Lily was visible in the kitchen. Max walked past carrying a bowl. Maya picked up the letter and went inside. "They accepted me." Maya set the letter on the kitchen table. Lily grabbed it immediately, her eyes scanned fast. Then she looked up with a huge smile. "Mom! Oh my God, Mom!" She jumped up and hugged Maya hard. Maya hugged back. The embrace felt like validation. Max appeared from his room. "What's happening?" "Mom got into the teaching program." Lily's voice was bright with excitement. Max walked over and looked at the letter. He didn't say anything at first, just read it carefully. Then he looked up at Maya. "Does this mean you'll be busier?" The question was quiet, practical, the kind of question Max asked. Maya's chest tightened. "Probably, yeah." "Like how much busier?" "I don't know yet. I'll have classes, and I'll still work, but I'll figure it out." Max nodded slowly. He didn't look excited. He looked worried. Lily noticed. "Max, this is good. This is really good." "I know." But his voice didn't match the words. Maya knelt down to his level. "Hey, talk to me." Max shrugged. You're already tired all the time, and now there's more stuff." The honesty hit hard. Maya reached out and touched his shoulder. "You're right, I am tired, and this will be more work." "So why do it?" It was a fair question. Maya had asked herself the same thing at 2 a.m. filling out applications. "Because I want to show you something." "What?" "That it's okay to want things, even when it's hard, even when you're scared." Max looked at her, really looked. His eyes were serious for 12. "Are you scared?" "Terrified." Maya smiled a little. "But I'm doing it anyway." Max considered this. Then he stepped forward and hugged her quickly. "Okay." The hug was brief, but it was enough. Lily joined back in. "We should celebrate. Order pizza?" Maya stood. "Yeah, pizza sounds good." They ordered. They ate. Lily talked about her day. Max showed Maya a level he'd beaten in his game. Normal evening things. But underneath it all, Maya felt the weight of what was coming. Classes, homework, balancing everything. And underneath that, deeper, a spark of something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. The first day of classes arrived too fast. Maya stood in the parking lot of the education building, holding a new backpack she'd bought on sale. Inside were 3 notebooks, a pack of pens, the orientation packet they'd mailed. Other students walked past. Most looked younger than her, fresh from undergrad, confident in their path. Maya adjusted the backpack straps and walked toward the entrance. The lecture hall was on the second floor, room 214. Maya found it and stepped inside. Stadium seating, about 40 seats total. Half were already filled. She chose a seat in the back row, set her backpack down, pulled out a notebook. More students filtered in. Conversations hummed around her. Someone laughed. Someone else complained about parking. Maya opened her notebook to the first blank page. The lines looked infinite. At exactly 9 a.m., a man walked to the front of the room. Daniel Reed, the same professor from her interview. He set a laptop on the desk and turned to face the class. "Good morning. Welcome to Educational Foundations. I'm Dr. Reed." He clicked something on his laptop, and the projector lit up behind him. Course syllabus. This class will cover learning theory, classroom management, curriculum design, and pedagogical frameworks. We'll meet twice a week. You'll have readings, discussion posts, and 2 major papers. He scanned the room as he talked. His eyes landed on Maya for half a second. He nodded slightly, just acknowledgement, then moved on to the rest of the class. Maya felt her shoulders relax a fraction. Daniel continued talking. Expectations, grading policy, office hours. Maya picked up her pen, clicked it once. The sound was small but definite. She placed the tip against paper. Her hand remembered the motion, the slight pressure needed, the way ink flowed. She wrote the date at the top of the page, then the course name, then Dr. Reed's office hours. Her handwriting looked the same as it had 15 years ago, maybe a little steadier. Outside the windows, Portland stretched under gray morning sky. Somewhere in the city, her kids were in their own classrooms, learning their own lessons. And here Maya sat, finally back, finally starting. The pen felt right in her hand. The library stayed open until midnight on weeknights. Maya discovered this in week 3, when she still hadn't finished the reading for Educational Foundations. 40 pages about constructivist learning theory. The words kept blurring together. She sat at a desk on the 3rd floor, the quietest section. Her coffee had gone cold an hour ago. The highlighted sections in her textbook looked like someone had attacked the page with a marker. Footsteps approached on the carpet. Maya didn't look up until they stopped beside her table. Daniel Reed stood there with his own coffee and a worn leather bag. "You look lost." Maya straightened in her chair. "I'm fine, just working through the reading." "Piaget and Vygotsky?" "Yeah." Daniel glanced at the page he had open, at the aggressive highlighting. "That section is dense. Most people struggle with it." "I'm managing." The defensiveness came automatically. She didn't want to be the struggling student, the one who needed extra help. Daniel set his coffee down on the table. "Mind if I sit?" Maya gestured to the empty chair. "It's a public library." He sat, pulled out his laptop, opened it without saying anything else, just worked quietly beside her. The silence felt strange at first, then it settled into something easier. Maya returned to her reading. The words still didn't make perfect sense, but having someone nearby helped. Like she wasn't completely alone in not understanding. After 20 minutes, Daniel spoke without looking up from his screen. "Constructivism basically means students build knowledge through experience, not just passive absorption." Maya looked at him. "I know what it means. I just don't understand how to apply it." "That comes later. Right now, you're still building the foundation. Everyone else seems to get it faster." Daniel finally looked at her. "Everyone else is pretending. Trust me, half the class is as confused as you are. And the other half? Lying better." The corner of Maya's mouth lifted, almost a smile. "That's reassuring. It's honest." Daniel returned to his laptop. They worked in parallel silence until the library announced closing. Maya packed her things. Daniel did the same. In the parking lot, he paused beside his car. "If you need help with readings, I hold office hours, Tuesday and Thursday afternoons." "I'll keep that in mind." Maya unlocked her car. "For what it's worth, you're doing better than you think." Maya didn't know how to respond to that, so she just nodded. Daniel got in his car and drove away. Maya sat in hers for a moment. The parking lot lights cast everything in orange. She thought about the way he'd sat down without being asked, without making a big deal of helping, just offered presence. Maya started her car and headed home. It was almost 1 a.m. The kids would be asleep. The house would be dark. But tomorrow she'd go back. Keep reading. Keep trying. Maybe that was enough. The study sessions started small. Daniel had mentioned them in class. Anyone who wants additional support, I'm available Thursday evenings, room 220. Maya showed up the first week. So did 3 other students. Daniel went over the upcoming paper assignment, broke down the rubric, answered questions. It wasn't remedial help. It was clarification, structure, the kind of thing that made overwhelming tasks feel manageable. Maya went back the next week, and the week after that. By October, the study group had settled into a rhythm. 4 students who consistently showed up. Daniel brought coffee sometimes, made small talk before diving into content. One evening, they were discussing classroom management theories. One student asked about dealing with difficult parents. Daniel leaned back in his chair. The hardest part is not taking it personally. Parents who seem aggressive are usually just scared. Scared of what? Maya asked. That their kid is falling behind. That they're failing as parents. Fear makes people defensive. The room was quiet for a moment. Then another student spoke up about their practicum experience. The conversation moved on, but Maya sat with Daniel's words. Fear makes people defensive. She thought about her interview with him, how scared she'd been, how defensive she'd gotten just now in the library when he'd tried to help. After the session ended, Maya stayed back while others filed out. Daniel packed his laptop. Can I ask you something? Maya's voice came out quieter than intended. Daniel looked up. Sure. Why do you do these study sessions? You're not required to. He considered the question, zipped his laptop bag. Because teaching isn't just about delivering content. It's about meeting people where they are. That's very noble. It's practical. If students are struggling, I want to know. Want to help before they fail. Maya adjusted her backpack. Well, thanks. It helps. Good. Daniel smiled slightly. That's the goal. They walked out together. The hallway was empty. Their footsteps echoed. At the exit, Daniel held the door. You heading to your car? Yeah. They walked across the parking lot. The October air had turned cold. Maya pulled her jacket tighter. How are your kids handling the schedule change? Daniel asked. Maya was surprised he remembered she had kids. They're adjusting. My daughter is excited for me. My son is quieter about it. That must be hard. It is. Maya found her car. But I keep telling myself it's temporary. And worth it? She looked at him over the roof of her car. I hope so. Daniel nodded. For what it's worth, I think it is. He walked to his own car, 2 spots down. Maya got in and started the engine. Through her windshield, she watched him drive away. The conversation had been normal, colleague to colleague, but something about it felt different, like a door opening slightly. Maya drove home thinking about fear and defensiveness and meeting people where they are. Coffee turned into a routine, not planned, just circumstantial. After study sessions, sometimes the group would go to the campus cafe, decaf at 9 p.m., grading papers at small tables. One Thursday, only Maya and Daniel ended up going. The other students had midterms in different classes. They sat at a table near the window. Campus was quiet, most buildings dark. How's the classroom management paper coming? Daniel asked. Slowly, I keep second-guessing every example I use. That's normal. First papers are always the hardest. Maya stirred her coffee. When did you know you wanted to teach? Daniel looked surprised by the question. College. I was an engineering major, hated it. Took an education elective on a whim and something clicked. Your family must have been thrilled. He laughed, dry. My ex-wife certainly wasn't. Ex-wife? We divorced 2 years ago. Daniel's voice was matter-of-fact. She thought teaching was a waste, wanted me to go into corporate training. Better money. Maya processed this. But you didn't. No, I didn't. He took a sip of coffee. Turns out that was a deal breaker. The honesty surprised her. Professors didn't usually share personal details, but maybe at 9 p.m. in an empty cafe, the normal boundaries shifted. I'm sorry, Maya said. Don't be. It clarified things. She wanted a different life than I did. Still, that must have been hard. Daniel looked at her. Yeah, it was. A moment passed. Comfortable silence. Maya found herself studying his face, the tiredness around his eyes, the gray in his hair that probably came early. Can I ask you something? Daniel set down his cup. Sure. Why did you really come back? I read your essay, the answer about your kids, but there's more to it, isn't there? Maya had expected this question eventually. She'd asked it to herself enough times. I spent 15 years putting everyone else first, and that was the right choice. But somewhere in there I forgot I was allowed to want things too. That's honest. You asked. Maya smiled a little. Honesty is harder than I thought it would be. It usually is. Daniel leaned back in his chair. But it's the only thing that matters in teaching. Kids can smell fake from a mile away. Great. I'm training to be authentic in front of 30 teenagers. You'll be fine. You're already more genuine than half the teachers I've observed. Maya raised an eyebrow. You're observing teachers? I supervise student teachers, part of the job. So you've seen a lot of bad teaching, and a lot of good teaching. The good ones are the ones who show up as themselves, flaws and all. They sat for a while longer, talking about nothing important, campus politics, Portland weather, the coffee here versus the coffee at the grocery store where Maya worked. Eventually, Daniel checked his watch. I should let you get home. They walked out together. The night air was sharp. Their breath showed in small clouds. At Maya's car, Daniel paused. Thanks for the company. Thanks for the conversation. Maya unlocked her door. See you Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. She got in and watched him walk to his car. Something had shifted tonight, from professor-student to something closer to equals. People with their own complicated lives. Maya drove home thinking about honesty and teaching, and the way Daniel had said she'd be fine. She wanted to believe him. Student teaching started in November. Maya was placed at a local elementary school. 5th grade, Mrs. Morrison's classroom. 27 students. Bright bulletin boards. Organized chaos. Maya's first day teaching was a disaster. She'd planned a lesson on fractions. 30 minutes. Carefully structured. It fell apart in 10. The students didn't understand her explanation. She'd used examples that didn't land. By minute 12, half the class was talking. By minute 20, Mrs. Morrison had to step in. Maya stood at the front of the room, feeling like she was underwater. Everything muffled, everything wrong. After class, Mrs. Morrison was kind. That happens to everyone their first time. You'll adjust. But Maya couldn't shake the feeling of failure. She sat in her car in the school parking lot and wanted to cry. Her phone buzzed. Text from Daniel. How'd it go? She stared at the message, considered lying, saying it went fine, but the words wouldn't form. She called him instead. He answered on the second ring. Maya? It was terrible, her voice cracked. I completely bombed. What happened? She told him. Every humiliating detail. The confused faces, the talking, the moment Mrs. Morrison took over. Daniel listened without interrupting. When she finished, he was quiet for a moment. Then, did the kids learn anything? I don't know, maybe. Did you learn anything? Maya thought about it. That my examples sucked? Good. That's the most important part. How is that good? Because you noticed. A bad teacher would have blamed the kids. You blame the lesson. That means you can fix it. Maya pressed her forehead against the steering wheel. I don't feel like I can fix it. You will. This is week 1. Nobody is good at week 1. Were you? God, no. I accidentally locked myself out of my classroom my first day of student teaching. Had to get security to let me back in. That pulled a small laugh from Maya. Really? Really. Teaching is humbling. That's part of the process. I thought I was ready. I thought I understood. Understanding theory is different from standing in front of 27 10-year-olds. You'll get there. Just keep showing up. Maya lifted her head. Through the windshield, she could see the school entrance. Kids streaming out, parents waiting. Normal afternoon chaos. Thanks, she said quietly. Any time. And Maya? Yeah? Mrs. Morrison called me. She said you were honest with the kids when you didn't have an answer. That matters more than you think. After they hung up, Maya sat in her car a while longer. The sky was starting to darken. Late autumn did that, stole daylight early. She thought about what Daniel said, about honesty mattering, about showing up. Tomorrow she'd go back, try again, adjust the lesson. She'd show up. The soccer game was on a Saturday. Max had mentioned it twice. Maya had written it on the calendar, circled it. But Friday night she'd stayed up until 3 a.m. finishing a paper on differentiated instruction. And Saturday morning she'd woken to Lily shaking her shoulder. Mom, it's 9. Max's game is at 10. Maya had jolted awake, disoriented. The paper, the game, the time. She'd thrown on clothes and rushed them out the door. They'd made it to the field by 10:15. The game had already started. Max was on the field. He glanced at the bleachers once, saw them. His expression didn't change. Maya's stomach twisted. They stayed for the second half. Max played well, scored once. His team won. Afterward, he walked over to where they waited. Good game, Maya said. Thanks. Max's voice was flat. Sorry we were late. I overslept. It's fine. But it wasn't fine. Maya could hear it in his voice, see it in the way he didn't quite look at her. Lily touched Max's shoulder. You were awesome out there. Yeah, Max shouldered his gym bag. Can we go? They went home. Max disappeared to his room. Lily helped Maya make lunch. Neither of them mentioned the elephant in the kitchen. That evening, Maya knocked on Max's door. Yeah? She opened it. He was on his bed with his tablet, homework spread around him. Can we talk? Max shrugged. Sure. Maya sat on the edge of his bed. I'm sorry I missed the start of your game. You said that already. I know, but I want you to know I feel terrible about it. Max set down his tablet. Mom, it's fine. You're busy. I get it. It's not fine. You're important. Your games are important. But your school stuff is important too. His voice was careful. Too careful for 12. Maya's chest ached. You're more important. Then why are you doing this? The question hung between them, raw and real. Maya took a breath. Because I'm trying to show you something about not giving up on dreams. But I'm screwing it up, aren't I? Max picked at a thread on his blanket. I miss you being around. I know, I miss being around too. So why not just quit? Go back to how it was? Maya thought about her disaster of a first teaching day, about studying until 3 a.m., about the constant exhaustion. Because I'm learning that I can't just be your mom. I have to be me too. Max looked up at her. You were always you. No, I was always mom. That's different. He considered this. So you have to be both? I'm trying to figure out how. Max nodded slowly. Okay, but can you try not to miss the whole game next time? I promise. Maya reached over and squeezed his hand. I'll set like 5 alarms. Make it 10, she smiled. Deal. Max went back to his homework. Maya left the room. In the hallway, she leaned against the wall and closed her eyes. Being both was harder than she thought. Maya broke down in Daniel's office on a Tuesday in late November. She hadn't planned to even stop by, but she'd been walking past and the door was open, and suddenly she was standing in the doorway, crying. Daniel looked up from his desk. His expression shifted immediately. Maya, come in. Close the door. She did, sat in the chair across from him, tried to get herself together. What happened? I can't do this. The words came out broken. I thought I could, but I can't. My kids need me and I'm failing my classes, and I can't sleep, and I missed Max's soccer game, and I'm a terrible mother, and I'm a terrible student, and I don't know what I'm doing. She was fully crying now, not pretty crying, the kind that came from deep exhaustion and panic. Daniel handed her a box of tissues, waited while she tried to breathe. When she'd calmed slightly, he spoke. You're not failing your classes. You have a B average. That's not good enough. It's your first semester back after 15 years. A B average is excellent. Maya wiped her eyes. I missed my son's soccer game. That's hard. I'm sure it hurt both of you. It did. Daniel leaned forward, elbows on his desk. Can I ask you something? Maya nodded. Why did you really come here today? She looked at him. What do you mean? You were walking past my office. You could have kept walking. Why did you stop? Maya didn't have an answer. Or she did, but it scared her. I don't know. I think you do. Fine, because I knew you'd be honest with me. About what? About whether I'm wasting everyone's time, whether I should quit. Daniel was quiet. The office felt very small suddenly. The afternoon light through the window turned everything amber. Do you want me to tell you to quit? He asked. I want you to tell me if I should. I can't do that. That's your decision. But you're my professor. You know if I'm capable. You're absolutely capable. That's not the question. Maya's hands twisted the tissue. Then what is? What do you want? Daniel's voice was gentle. Not what your kids need. Not what you think you should want. What do you actually want? The question cracked something open. Maya felt tears starting again. I want to teach. I want to stand in a classroom and help kids understand things. I want to matter that way. Then do that. But my kids. Your kids need a lot of things. They need a present parent. They also need to see you become who you're meant to be. That's easy to say. It's true to say. Daniel stood and walked around his desk, leaned against it, closer to her now. I'm going to tell you something I don't tell many students. Maya looked up at him. I championed your application. When the board reviewed it, 3 members wanted to reject you. Too much time away from school, too risky, too many potential complications. What? I fought for you. Because your essay wasn't about wanting to teach. It was about needing to. There's a difference. Maya's breath caught. So no, Daniel continued, I don't think you're wasting anyone's time. I think you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. The office was very quiet. Outside, footsteps passed in the hallway. Voices faded. Maya stood. She felt unsteady. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. She moved toward the door, stopped, turned back. Thank you for fighting for me. I didn't do it for you. I did it because I knew you'd become a great teacher. I'm not even close to great. Not yet, but you will be. Maya left before she started crying again, walked down the hallway, out into late November cold. She got in her car and sat, thought about Daniel saying he'd fought for her, that she was doing what she was supposed to be doing. She pulled out her phone, texted Max. I'm sorry about Saturday. I love you. His response came fast. I love you too, Mom. Maya started her car. She had a paper due Friday. She had student teaching tomorrow. She had approximately 4,000 things pulling her in different directions. But underneath all of it was a small, solid certainty. She wasn't quitting. Not yet. The college essay arrived in early December. Lily brought it to Maya on a Sunday morning. Maya was at the kitchen table with flashcards, studying for finals. "Can you read this?" Lily set her laptop down. "It's my Common App essay." Maya set aside her flashcards. "Of course." She read it twice. The essay was about watching Maya study at the same table where they did homework, about courage not being doing easy things, about watching someone start over. When Maya finished, her eyes were wet. "It's about you," Lily said. "Unnecessary, obvious. It's beautiful. Is it okay that I wrote about this?" Maya looked at her daughter. 15. So much older than Maya had been when everything changed. "It's more than okay. I'm applying to Portland State and University of Oregon and a few others. Those are great schools." Lily sat down across from her. "I want to stay close. I know that probably sounds weird, but I want to be around for whatever comes next. You don't have to plan your life around me." "I'm not. I'm choosing to stay close because I want to. There's a difference." The words echoed something Daniel had said, about want versus should, about choosing. "When did you get so wise?" Maya asked. "I learned from watching you try to figure it out." Maya reached across the table and took Lily's hand. "I'm sorry if this has been hard." "It hasn't been hard. It's been weird, but good weird." Lily squeezed back. "You seem more like yourself." "I do?" "Yeah, like the real you was under there the whole time, and now she's coming out." Maya didn't know how to respond to that, so she just held her daughter's hand and let the moment be enough. Later, after Lily went back to her room, Maya returned to her flashcards. But she kept thinking about the essay, about courage, about the real her coming out. She wondered if Lily was right, if all of this struggle was just Maya remembering who she'd been before fear and responsibility had buried her. Outside, the December rain started, soft against the windows, the sound Maya associated with Portland, with home. She picked up her next flashcard, kept studying. Finals week arrived with cruel efficiency. 3 exams, 2 papers, 1 presentation. Maya lived on coffee and 4 hours of sleep. Thursday night, she was in the empty classroom on the 3rd floor, the one that stayed unlocked for late studying. Her educational foundations notes spread across 2 desks. The final was tomorrow at 8 a.m. At 11 p.m., Daniel walked in. He stopped when he saw her. "You're still here." Maya looked up. Her eyes felt gritty. "Final tomorrow." "I know. I wrote it." He set his bag down. "Can I study here? My office is freezing." "It's a free country." Daniel pulled out his laptop. They worked in parallel. The familiar silence from the library, comfortable. Occasionally one of them would shift or sigh, but mostly it was just quiet. At midnight, Daniel closed his laptop. "You should go home, get some sleep." "I'm not done reviewing." "You're never done reviewing. At some point you have to trust that you know enough." Maya rubbed her eyes. "What if I don't?" "Then you'll figure it out during the exam. That's what teaching is anyway, figuring it out as you go." She looked at him, really looked. He had his own tiredness, his own end-of-semester exhaustion. "Do you ever wish you'd chosen something easier?" "Every semester." He smiled. "And then a student gets it, really gets it. And I remember why I do this." "Has that happened with me?" Daniel was quiet for a moment. Then, "Yes." "When?" "Today. Your paper on differentiated instruction. You wrote about meeting students where they are, not where you wish they were. That's the heart of teaching." Maya felt something warm in her chest. "I was just writing what you'd said." "No, you were understanding it. There's a difference." The classroom felt very small, very quiet. They were the only people on this floor, maybe in the building. Daniel stood, started packing his laptop. "I should let you finish." But he didn't move toward the door. And Maya didn't return to her notes. Instead, she stood too, walked around the desk. "Can I tell you something?" "Of course." "I'm glad you fought for my application." "I am too. And I'm glad you show up at libraries and classrooms and make bad coffee after study sessions. Daniel's expression shifted. Something softer. Maya, I know you're my professor. I know this is complicated, but I need you to know that these last few months, this semester, you've made it possible. You made it possible. I just showed up. You showed up when I needed someone to. They were standing close now, close enough that Maya could see the flecks of gold in his eyes, the way he was holding very still, like movement might break something. I want to kiss you, Maya said, honest, direct, terrifying. I want that too, Daniel's voice was rough. But I can't, not while I'm your professor. I know. And you still had to say it? I needed you to know. Daniel reached up, touched her face, just his fingers against her cheek. The gesture was achingly gentle. One more semester, then I'm not your professor anymore. That's 6 months. I know. Maya leaned into his touch. I should go home. You should. But neither of them moved. They stood in the empty classroom with 6 months stretching between now and possibility. Finally, Maya stepped back. The loss of contact felt physical. Good luck tomorrow, Daniel said. Thanks. She gathered her notes, shoved them into her bag, walked to the door, stopped. Daniel? Yeah? Thanks for waiting. Thanks for being worth waiting for. Maya left before she changed her mind, walked down the empty hallway, out into December night. The cold air hit her face and cleared some of the exhaustion. She got in her car, sat for a moment, thought about the way he'd touched her face, the way he'd said one more semester. 6 months. She could wait 6 months. She started the car and drove home. Tomorrow she had a final. Tomorrow she'd prove she'd learned something. But tonight she'd learned the most important thing, that want and should didn't have to be enemies, that sometimes they aligned, and that was worth waiting for. Maya aced the final. She knew it walking out. The questions had made sense. Her answers had been clear, confident. She turned in her exam and walked out into Friday morning light. Campus was quiet. Finals week, emptiness. Most people already gone for winter break. Her phone buzzed. Text from Daniel. How'd it go? She typed back. Good, really good. 3 dots appeared, disappeared. Then, I'm proud of you. Maya stared at the message, read it 3 times, saved it. She walked to her car. The semester was over. She'd survived. More than survived. She'd passed everything, learned everything, changed everything. At home, the kids were still asleep. Maya made coffee, sat at the kitchen table, the same table where this had all started, the same chair where she'd filled out her application. 5 months ago, she'd been terrified, uncertain, convinced she was too late. Now she was just tired and proud and already thinking about spring semester. Her phone buzzed again. This time, it was an email. Final grades posted. She opened the portal. Educational foundations, A-. Child development, B+. Curriculum design, A. Her overall GPA, 3.6. Maya set down her phone, pressed both hands to her face, then laughed. Quiet, relieved, real. She'd done it. She'd actually done it. Lily appeared in the doorway, hair messy from sleep. Mom? Hey, sweetie. Why are you up so early? Grades posted. Lily was awake immediately. And? I passed. Everything. Lily crossed the room and hugged her hard. I knew you would. I wasn't sure. I was. They held the embrace. Maya felt her daughter's certainty, her belief, the gift of being seen clearly. When they broke apart, Lily went to make her own coffee. Maya returned to staring at her grades, at the proof that she'd survived her first semester. Spring would bring new challenges, more classes, more student teaching, more balancing everything. But she'd cross that bridge in January. Right now, she was just going to sit here, in her kitchen, drinking coffee, being proud. The semester was over, and Maya was still standing. Spring semester started with Daniel's class again. Advanced pedagogy. Same classroom, different energy. Maya walked in and found Daniel already there, setting up his laptop. He looked up when she entered. Their eyes met for half a second. Then he returned to his screen. Maya chose a seat in the middle row this time. Not the back, not hiding. Other students filtered in. The room filled with conversation. Someone complained about parking. Someone else showed vacation photos. At 9 a.m. exactly, Daniel turned to face the class. Welcome to Advanced Pedagogy. This class focuses on practical application. You'll be teaching more, observing more, thinking critically about what works and what doesn't. He went through the syllabus, professional, clear. His eyes moved across the room like always, landing on Maya with the same brief acknowledgement he gave everyone else. But underneath the professional distance, Maya felt the current, the awareness, the 6 months counting down. After class, she packed slowly. Let the other students leave first. When the room was nearly empty, she approached his desk. Professor Reed. He looked up. Miss Torres. The formality felt ridiculous, but necessary. I wanted to thank you for last semester. You earned every grade you got. Still, thank you. Daniel held her gaze. You're welcome. Someone else entered the classroom, a student from the next class. The moment dissolved. Maya left, walked down the hallway. Her hands were shaking slightly. 5 more months. She could do 5 more months. The job offer came on a Tuesday in February. An email from a company Maya didn't recognize. Retail management position. Store opening in Portland. Competitive salary. Benefits. Immediate start. Maya read it 3 times, then looked up the company. They were national, well-established. The salary was more than double what she made at the supermarket. She could take this, drop out of the program, give her kids the stability they deserved. The thought sat heavy in her chest. That evening, she showed Lily the email. They were doing dishes together. Max was in his room. That's a lot of money, Lily said. Yeah. Are you going to take it? Maya scrubbed a plate. I don't know. Do you want to take it? The question Daniel had asked. What do you want? No, but maybe I should. Lily dried the plate Maya handed her. Why should you? Because it's practical. Because it would make things easier for you and Max. We're fine. You shouldn't have to be just fine. Lily set down the plate. Mom, can I say something? Always. Watching you quit would make things harder, not easier. The words hit cleanly. Maya stopped washing. What? If you quit now, after everything, Max and I learned that when things get hard, you give up. Is that what you want to teach us? Maya's eyes stung. I'm not giving up. I'm being responsible. You're being scared. Lily's voice was gentle, but firm. And that's okay, but don't pretend it's about us. Maya looked at her 15-year-old daughter. When had she become so wise? You're right, Maya said quietly. I know. Lily smiled. You raised me. They finished dishes in silence. After Lily went to her room, Maya sat at the kitchen table with her laptop. The job offer email still open. She thought about Daniel saying she was doing what she was supposed to be doing, about Lily's essay about courage, about the way teaching felt when she got it right. Maya typed a response. Thank you for the opportunity. After careful consideration, I must decline. She hit send before she could second-guess it. Her chest felt tight and free at the same time. Maya called Daniel that night. She knew she shouldn't, knew it crossed lines, but she needed to tell someone who would understand. He answered on the 3rd ring. Maya, is everything okay? I got a job offer, retail management, really good money. Silence on the other end. Then, congratulations. I turned it down. Another silence, longer this time. Why are you telling me this? Because I need someone to tell me I didn't just make a huge mistake. I can't tell you that. Maya's stomach dropped. What? I can't tell you what to do with your life, Maya. That's not my place. I know, what do you want me to say? Daniel's voice was careful, measured. That I'm glad you're staying in the program? I am. That I think you made the right choice? I do. But this has to be your decision, not mine. Why not yours? Because if I tell you to stay and it falls apart, you'll resent me. And if I tell you to go and you regret it, you'll resent me. Either way, we're done before we start. Maya sat with that, the truth of it. So what do I do? You already did it. You made a choice. Now you live with it. That's not very comforting. It's not meant to be. Daniel's voice softened slightly. But for what it's worth, I think you're brave. I don't feel brave. I feel terrified. That's what brave is, being terrified and doing it anyway. Maya closed her eyes. 4 more months. I know. Will you wait? Maya, his voice was rough now, honest. I've been waiting since November. The admission hung between them, raw, real. Okay, Maya whispered. Okay. Get some sleep. You have practicum tomorrow. Yeah. And Maya? Yeah. You made the right choice. After they hung up, Maya sat in the dark. Her phone felt warm in her hand. She thought about what he'd said, about waiting since November, about being brave. She was terrified, but she wasn't alone in it. That had to count for something. Maya's student teaching reached its final phase in March. She was teaching full lessons now, planning, executing, adjusting on the fly. Mrs. Morrison observed from the back, taking notes, occasionally nodding. One Friday, Maya taught a lesson on narrative writing. She'd planned it carefully, included examples, built-in discussion time. Halfway through, a student named Carlos raised his hand. Miss Torres, what if you don't have any good stories? The question stopped Maya. She could give the textbook answer. Everyone has stories. Writing is about finding them. But she looked at Carlos, saw the genuine doubt on his face, and chose honesty instead. I felt that way for a long time, she said. I thought my life wasn't interesting enough to write about. The class was quiet, listening. But then I realized stories aren't about being interesting. They're about being true. The most boring day can be a story if you write it honestly. What do you mean? Another student asked. Maya thought about sitting at her kitchen table filling out an application, about being terrified and doing it anyway. Sometimes the story is just about trying something, about being scared and showing up. That's enough. Carlos considered this. So I could write about being nervous for a test? Absolutely. If you write about what that nervousness felt like, what you did with it, that's a story. Something clicked in the room. Maya felt it, the shift from theory to understanding. After class, Mrs. Morrison pulled her aside. That was excellent. Thank you. You didn't give them the easy answer. You gave them a real one. Maya felt warm, validated. I'm learning that's what matters. You're not learning. You already knew. You're just remembering. The distinction felt important. Maya carried it with her the rest of the day. She texted Daniel on her way home. Had a breakthrough today. His response came fast. Tell me about it. So she did. Called him from her car. Told him about Carlos and the question and the way the room had shifted. That's teaching, Daniel said. That moment right there. That's why we do this. It felt good. It should. You earned it. They talked for 20 minutes about teaching, about moments of clarity, about the weird magic of watching someone understand something. When Maya got home, she felt lighter, like something had settled into place. She was becoming a teacher, not pretending, not trying, actually becoming. The conversation about their father happened on a Sunday in April. Max brought it up out of nowhere. They were all watching a movie, some comedy Lily had picked. During a quiet scene, Max said, "Do you ever miss Dad?" The room froze. Maya paused the movie. Lily looked at her brother. Where did that come from? I don't know, I was just thinking. Max kept his eyes on the blank screen. We never talk about him. Maya's heart rate picked up. This conversation had been waiting for years. What do you want to know? Did you love him? Yes, very much. Then why did he leave? Maya took a breath. This was the moment, the honest answer. Because I scared him. You? Max looked at her now. How? I got pregnant. We were young. He wasn't ready to be a father, so he left. That's not your fault, Lily said immediately. I didn't say it was his choice, but I understand why he made it. Do you regret us? Max's voice was small. The question he'd been holding for who knows how long. Maya moved to sit next to him. Never, not for 1 second. You two are the best thing I ever did. But you gave up school, your dreams. I chose you over school. That's different from giving up. But now you're going back, so we made you lose time. The logic was heartbreaking. Maya turned Max to face her. You didn't make me lose time. You gave me purpose. Everything I'm doing now is because of you, not in spite of you. How? Because you taught me what actually matters. You taught me to be brave, to show up even when I'm scared. Maya felt tears starting. You think I did everything for you, but you've been doing everything for me too, by just existing, by being exactly who you are. Max's eyes were wet. Really? Really. Lily joined the hug. They sat there, 3 people who'd built a life from scratch, who'd survived, who'd become their own definition of family. When they broke apart, Max wiped his eyes. Can we finish the movie? Yeah. Maya pressed play. But something had changed. A weight lifted. The unspoken things finally spoken. After the movie ended and the kids went to bed, Maya sat at the kitchen table, the same spot where everything had started, where she'd filled out the application, where she'd made the choice to try. She thought about regret, about choice, about the difference between giving up and choosing different. She didn't regret her kids, but she also didn't regret going back to school. Both could be true. Both were true. The realization felt like freedom. Maya called Daniel the next day. Not about school, not about teaching, just because she wanted to. Hi, she said when he answered. Hi. She could hear the smile in his voice. I just wanted to talk. Okay, talk. So she did. About Max and the conversation about their father. About the way honesty had cracked everything open. About feeling lighter. Daniel listened, asked questions, shared his own story about his ex-wife, about the divorce, about choosing passion over comfort. Do you regret it? Maya asked. The divorce? No. Staying as long as I did? Sometimes. Why did you stay? Fear. I thought if I gave up teaching, I could save the marriage. But you can't save something by becoming someone you're not. Maya understood that, deeply. When did you know you had to choose? When I stopped recognizing myself. When I looked in the mirror and didn't know who was looking back. That's terrifying. It was, but staying was more terrifying. They were quiet for a moment. Comfortable silence. Then Daniel said, 2 more months. I know. I'm not your professor after May 15th. I know that too. Just wanted to make sure you were keeping track. Maya smiled. I've been counting since November. Good. So have I. After they hung up, Maya felt settled, clear, like all the pieces were finally arranging themselves into something recognizable. 2 more months. Then everything could shift. She could wait 2 more months. The last day of student teaching came in early May. Maya taught her final lesson, a reading comprehension activity. The students were engaged, asking questions, making connections. When the bell rang, they didn't rush out immediately. Several came up to her desk. Miss Torres, are you coming back next year? A girl named Emma asked. I'm not sure yet. I have to finish my program first. But then you'll be a real teacher? Maya smiled. Then I'll be a real teacher. Can you teach here? Maybe, if I'm lucky. Carlos handed her a folded piece of paper. We made you something. Maya opened it. Inside was a card, handmade, signatures from every student. Thank you messages scrawled in different handwriting. You showed me teachers are brave. You let us ask hard questions. You were real with us. Come back next year. Maya's throat tightened. She looked at the kids, 12 and 13 years old, already learning that honesty mattered, that showing up counted. Thank you, she managed. This means everything. Mrs. Morrison appeared in the doorway. Time for lunch, everyone. The students filed out. Maya stayed at the desk, holding the card. Mrs. Morrison walked over. You did well this semester. I had a good mentor. You had the skill, I just helped you remember it. They talked logistics, recommendations, next steps. But mostly Maya just sat with the weight of what she'd accomplished. She'd taught, actually taught, changed lives in small ways that added up to something real. When she left the classroom for the last time, she turned back, looked at the desks, the bulletin boards, the space where she'd found herself. Outside, she texted Daniel. Last day done. His response, how do you feel? Maya thought about it, typed back, like a teacher. Graduation day arrived with perfect May weather. Clear sky, warm sun, Portland showing off. Maya wore her cap and gown, stood in line with other education graduates. Lily and Max were somewhere in the audience. She'd given them the tickets and told them to find good seats. The ceremony moved slowly. Speaker after speaker, honorary degrees. Finally, the education school. When they called Maya's name, she walked across the stage, shook hands with the dean, took her diploma. In the crowd, she heard Lily and Max cheering, loud, unself-conscious. She found them in the seats and smiled. They waved back. After the ceremony ended, after the caps were thrown and the photos were taken, Maya found her kids in the crowd. Lily hugged her first. We're so proud of you. Max hugged her next. You did it, Mom. We did it, Maya corrected. All three of us. They took photos, dozens of them. Maya in her cap and gown, the three of them together, Lily on one side, Max on the other. A family that had survived and become stronger for it. Someone touched her shoulder. Maya turned. Daniel stood there in his faculty regalia. Congratulations, Miss Torres. Thank you, Professor Reed. He smiled. Actually, I'm not your professor anymore. No? As of 11:30 this morning, you completed your program. I'm no longer your instructor. The implication settled. Maya's heart picked up speed. So we're just two people. Yes. Lily cleared her throat. We're going to get ice cream. Take your time, Mom. She and Max disappeared into the crowd. Maya watched them go, then looked back at Daniel. Would you like to get coffee? He asked. I'd like that. They walked across campus. Graduation crowds everywhere, but Maya felt separate from it, in her own moment. At the campus cafe, they ordered drinks, found a table outside. The afternoon was perfect, warm without being hot, breeze moving through the trees. How does it feel? Daniel asked. Surreal. Like I might wake up and still be sitting at my kitchen table with a blank application. You're not going to wake up. Good. They sat in comfortable silence, drinking coffee, watching students celebrate. Then Daniel said, I have something to tell you. Maya looked at him. Okay. That job offer you got in February, the retail management position. What about it? It came from my ex-wife's company. She heard about you through mutual connections, thought she could save you from making my mistake. Maya's coffee cup paused halfway to her lips. What? She sent that offer trying to get you to quit. She thought she was helping. That's... Maya didn't know what to say. That's complicated. She meant well, in her own misguided way. Did you know when I called you that night? No, I found out later, but I would have told you the same thing either way. Maya processed this. The job offer, the attempt to save her, the irony of it all. I'm glad I didn't know. Why? Because then the choice really was mine, not influenced by anyone's agenda. Daniel smiled. That's very wise. I'm learning. They finished their coffee. The afternoon stretched long. Eventually, Maya checked her phone. Text from Lily. We're heading home. Take your time. I should probably go, Maya said. Yeah, Daniel stood when she did. They walked back across campus, past buildings where Maya had studied, classrooms where she'd learned, the geography of her transformation. At the parking lot, Daniel stopped. So, now what? Maya looked at him, really looked. This man who'd fought for her application, who'd waited for 6 months, who'd believed she could do this before she believed it herself. Now I apply for teaching jobs and see what happens. And us? What about us? Do I get to take you to dinner? Maya smiled. Yeah, you get to take me to dinner. When? How about now? Daniel's face lit up. Now works. They got in their separate cars, made plans to meet at a restaurant downtown. Something nice. A celebration. As Maya drove, she thought about the application she'd filled out months ago. The question, why do you want to teach? She'd written about showing her kids that dreams don't expire, about courage. But the real answer was simpler. She wanted to teach because she'd been taught. By her kids, by Daniel, by Mrs. Morrison, by Carlos and Emma and 25 other fifth graders who'd given her a card saying she was brave. She'd wanted to matter. She'd wanted to be seen. She'd wanted to be more than just mom. And somehow, by trying, she'd become all of it. Teacher, mother, woman, herself. Maya parked downtown, met Daniel outside the restaurant. He offered his arm. She took it. Ready? He asked. Yeah, Maya said. I'm ready. They went inside, the future spreading out before them. Uncertain but possible. Terrifying but worth it. Never too late. Never too late at all.